live with exhaustion. As a single dad and mechanic in a small town, tiredness had been stitched into every day of his life. But nothing had drained him more than watching his 8-year-old daughter, Amina, fade away in a hospital bed. Her disease was rare, her treatment was expensive, and her time was running out. Doctors gave him the look every parent fears, the look that ends hope. She needed a revolutionary treatment overseas. The cost? More than Ethan could earn in 10 lifetimes. He sold his tools. He sold his car. He even sold the ring his late wife had left behind. It still wasn't enough. He cried quietly at night in the hospital bathroom, gripping the sink so tight his knuckles turned white. His daughter, his entire world, was slipping away, and he was powerless. Then one evening everything changed. A convoy of black cars pulled up outside the hospital. People whispered. Nurses stopped what they were doing. Even the security guards straightened their posture, because stepping out of the car was Noah Axton, one of Africa's youngest and most influential billionaires, CEO of Axton Global Technologies, and a man whose name carried weight like thunder. He walked with crisp confidence, dressed in a dark suit that looked like it cost more than the entire hospital floor. People stared, wondering what a man like him was doing in a place like this. But Noah didn't stop until he reached the pediatric ward. Until he reached Amina's door. Ethan shot to his feet, confused, defensive, nervous. "Mr. Mbele?" the billionaire asked. "Yes, that's me," Ethan said, his voice shaking. Noah looked past him to the small girl, sleeping weakly in the bed, her body covered in wires and monitors. Then he turned back to Ethan. "I'm here for her." Those words nearly knocked Ethan to the ground. "What do you mean?" "Do you know her?" Ethan asked, trying to understand. Noah didn't answer that question. Not yet. Instead, he opened a folder and placed it in Ethan's trembling hands. Inside was a full medical approval document, a payment confirmation, a charter flight authorization, and the signature of the top specialist in the world for Amina's condition. Everything paid for, every detail arranged. Amina would get the operation. She would live. Ethan collapsed into a chair, tears falling uncontrollably. He grabbed Noah's hands, thanking him, blessing him, overwhelmed by the miracle standing before him. But miracles always come with mysteries, and this one had a very big one. "Why?" Ethan finally asked. "Why would a man like you help a stranger like me?"
"Why my daughter?"
Noah took a slow breath, a breath that seemed heavy with something he had carried for years. "Because she reminds me of someone," he said. "Someone I lost." Ethan's heart tightened. He waited. "My fiancée," Noah continued quietly. "She died 3 years ago, cancer. She kept telling me she wished she had lived long enough to have a family. A child. I couldn't save her. But I can save your daughter." The room fell silent. Ethan didn't know what to say. Gratitude and sorrow battled inside him. But Noah wasn't finished. "There is something else," he said. "Something you need to know." Ethan looked up sharply. Noah's eyes shifted, revealing vulnerability almost no one had ever seen. "Your daughter, Amina. She isn't just a patient to me. She represents a second chance. A chance to be part of something I thought I would never have." Ethan's confusion deepened. "What are you trying to say?" Noah stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I want to help raise her." Ethan froze, not physically, emotionally, like someone had unplugged his entire nervous system. "What?" he whispered. "I want to be in her life," Noah said. "Not as a replacement for her mother, not as someone taking her away, but as someone who helps secure her future, someone who becomes part of your family." Ethan shook his head, stunned. You want to adopt her?" "No," Noah said softly. Ethan shook his head, stunned. You want to adopt her?" "No," Noah said softly. "I want something different, something I've thought about for years, Mr. Mbele. I want a family, a real one. And I believe, truly, that fate brought us together." Ethan felt the floor sway beneath him. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," Noah said. "You're a good man, a devoted father, a man who has suffered too much loss. Just like me." The billionaire lifted a sealed envelope and placed it on the bedside table. Inside were documents, financial security, a trust fund for Amina, college funds, long-term health coverage, and an offer so unbelievable Ethan could barely blink at the numbers. This isn't a business transaction, Noah continued. I don't want to buy your child. I want to build something with you. A partnership, a family structure, a chance to stand with both of you for life. Ethan's breath shook in his chest. This wasn't the monster billionaire story people whispered about. This wasn't exploitation. This was a broken man searching for healing in the only place he'd found hope. The bond he'd seen between Ethan and his daughter. But why me? Ethan finally asked. Noah smiled for the first time. Because when I watched you talk to her in the ward earlier today, you reminded me of the man I always wanted to be. Silence. Amina stirred in her sleep, coughing weakly. Both men turned toward her. Noah's eyes softened instantly. I saved her life, he whispered. But she might save mine. Ethan slowly sank onto the chair beside the bed, overwhelmed. He had expected a miracle, but not this kind of miracle. Finally, he looked up. What happens after her surgery? Noah met his eyes with a quiet, steady seriousness. Then, the billionaire said, we talk about building a life where none of us ever has to feel alone again. And that was the moment Ethan realized. The morning Amina left for London for surgery, the airport felt like a battlefield between hope and fear. Ethan held her tightly as she leaned on his shoulder, small and fragile, but smiling because she trusted her father more than the sickness hurting her. And Noah stood a few steps away, watching them with an expression that belonged to someone who had lost too much and was terrified of losing again. A private jet waited on the runway, a jet big enough to carry Ethan, Amina, the medical team, and Noah himself. Reporters circled like vultures, snapping photos, asking questions. Mr. Axton, who is this child? Why is a billionaire helping a poor mechanic? Is this charity or something more? Noah ignored all of them. He didn't owe the world an explanation. This wasn't business. This was personal. Inside the jet, Amina slept peacefully, under warm blankets, while the doctor monitored her condition. Ethan sat beside her with eyes swollen from crying. Noah sat across from him, silent. After hours of tense flying, Ethan finally asked, why didn't you tell the media the truth? It would make you look good. Noah smiled faintly. I don't need to look good. I just need her to live. Ethan looked down, moved. He couldn't remember the last time someone had cared about his daughter without wanting something in return, or the last time he had felt this level of protection from a stranger. But was Noah really a stranger anymore? London was cold. The sky was iron grey, the air biting, and the hospital gleamed like a palace of glass and steel. Inside, the world's top specialist welcomed them personally. Noah Axton told us to treat this child like the daughter of a king, he said, shaking Ethan's stunned hand. Amina was wheeled into a special room with heated floors, private nurses, and equipment so advanced Ethan couldn't even understand the names on the screens. That night, sitting beside her, Ethan whispered, if your mom could see you now, she'd be proud. Just hold on, my little star, hold on. Noah stood at the doorway, listening. The surgery lasted 6 hours, hours that felt like 6 lifetimes. Ethan prayed on the floor. Noah paced the hall like a man fighting his own ghosts. Doctors came in and out, their faces unreadable. And then, at 3:14 p.m., the specialist walked out. Her heart is stable, he said. The operation was successful. Ethan collapsed into Noah's arms, sobbing. Noah held him, eyes wet, breathing deep as though he'd been drowning for years and had finally found air. She's safe? Ethan whispered. She's safe, the doctor confirmed. A billionaire and a mechanic, embraced like brothers, who had survived the same storm. Amina recovered faster than anyone expected. She laughed again. She walked again. She asked questions again, non-stop, like the bright, curious child she used to be. Every morning she greeted Noah with the same sentence. Are you my uncle now? And Noah would smile and answer, I'm whatever you want me to be. Ethan watched them bond with a mixture of warmth and confusion. Noah wasn't buying his way into their lives. He was earning it with genuine love. But there was still a question hanging in the air, one Ethan hadn't dared to ask. One night, Ethan found Noah alone on the hospital rooftop, staring at the city lights. Why us? Ethan asked quietly. Why choose us when you could choose anyone? There are thousands of families in need. Noah exhaled, breath turning white in the cold. You remind me of the life I could have had, he said. The life I lost when my fiancée died. I was ready to start a family. I had the ring. I had the house. I had everything. He paused. Except time. Ethan swallowed hard. And when I saw you with Amina, Noah said, voice breaking, I felt something I haven't felt since she died. What's that? Ethan asked. Hope. Silence hung heavy in the frosty air. Then Noah turned to him, eyes intense. I want to share a future with you and Amina, not replace you, not take anything away from you. I want to add to what you already have. Ethan looked down at his hands. It was a beautiful offer, but frightening. So what exactly are you asking, he asked. Noah inhaled deeply. I want to become her guardian with you, he said. A co-parent, a protector, someone who is legally, emotionally, and permanently responsible for her future. Ethan's heart thudded. You want to be a second father, he whispered. Yes, Noah answered. If you'll let me. A few days later, while Amina was eating pudding and watching cartoons, Noah placed a folder on Ethan's lap. Inside were legal guardianship papers. But there was more. Trust funds, education plans, a secured home big enough for all three of them. A long-term commitment that went beyond generosity. It was a bond. Ethan was stunned. This is your life savings, he said. This is pocket change to me, Noah replied softly. But to her it's a future. Ethan felt his chest tighten. He remembered the nights he had cried silently so his daughter wouldn't hear him. He remembered begging banks for loans. He remembered losing hope. And now, hope was sitting right in front of him. How do I know you won't disappear one day? Ethan asked carefully. Noah leaned forward. Because I didn't come into your life to leave, he said. And because she saved me long before I saved her. Ethan looked into Noah's eyes and saw no lies, no ego, no agenda, just a lonely man with a broken past, trying to build something real. Finally, Ethan nodded. Okay, he whispered. We'll try. Noah let out a breath he had been holding for months. Then we're family, he said. 2 months later, after Amina fully recovered, she was discharged. The hospital staff lined up to say goodbye. The doctors hugged Ethan. Nurses cried when they hugged Amina. But the most emotional moment happened at the entrance. Amina grabbed Noah's hand and said, Can I call you Dad too? Ethan froze. Noah froze. The world froze. Noah knelt down slowly, tears rising in his eyes. You can call me anything you want, he whispered. As long as you let me stay in your life. She wrapped her tiny arms around his neck. And that was it. The moment their new family was born. They flew back home together, not as billionaire and mechanic, not as benefactor and recipient, but as something deeper, something destiny had woven in silence. A father, a daughter, and a man who needed them as much as they needed him. As the plane lifted into the sky, Amina fell asleep on Noah's shoulder while Ethan watched with a soft smile. Noah met Ethan's gaze. You know, he said quietly, I think this is only the beginning. Ethan nodded. It is. And together, they stepped into a future none of them had expected, but all of them desperately needed.